Have you ever wondered why the YOUers and Uniteens have so much fun at rallies and retreats? And have you ever wondered, why don't the adults get something like that? You guys are in the dark. Is this the way it always is? Let there be light. Thank you, Marie. So have you ever wondered what the adult version of a YOU rally is? Well, you kind of wanted to share in that excitement and joy yourself. Well, I'll tell you. The adult version is going to Unity Village and taking a class, going to Unity Village for a retreat, or going to the Unity Annual People's Convention, which I did this last week. And I bring this up because, you've got an opportunity to go down to the village with that group from Unity Minneapolis, so really take that to heart and consider doing that. So this year's theme at the convention was, and you may have guessed this, God is, I am, we are, together transforming the world. 3 sets of hands and the earth, all the continents displayed on it. And throughout the week, different people would lead meditations and opening prayers, and a lot of them revolved around this theme. There are just layers upon layers of learning and activities and things going on at the annual convention. Educational teachings and seminars, inspirational keynote speakers, lots and lots of new information about our Unity movement. And then there's the heart piece of seeing old friends, people that you've met in classes or over the years, connecting with people from around the world, and making new friends in the small groups that you're in. There's an opportunity to browse the bookstore with all the Unity Worldwide materials, with books and music, CDs, and teaching supplies. And there's spectacular entertainment. I'm always introduced to new musicians and groups. And probably the best part is this week of immersion in Unity thought, and Unity way of life, through song and community and prayer and meditation. The convention always begins on Monday, the first Monday that there's a full week in June. On even number years, it's held in Overland Park, Kansas, which is about 20 miles from Unity Village. So parts of the convention are held at Unity Village, and parts are held in a great big hotel there. This is an odd year, so we weren't at Unity Village. This year we met at Albuquerque, New Mexico. And some of you may have been to some of these conventions. Minneapolis hosted it in the early 2000s. I attended the one in San Diego about 4 years ago. But this year it was in Albuquerque, and John, my husband, went along with me. He enjoyed the week. There's just so much Native American history and culture there, and geology and landscape was beautiful. The city is nestled in the Sandia Mountains, and there's a petroglyph national monument nearby. You just walk and see these great big rock formations with ancient drawings on them. And we went to a place called Tent Rock National Monument, where just these spires of rock formation and like castles that are natural in the world. So he had a wonderful time, and I went to meetings. I had a wonderful time too, actually. In fact, I had the opportunity of having lunch with Reverend Jim Marshall and Judy Martian a couple of days, and they send their love and greetings to all of you. I miss you. Reverend Jim and Judy were both part of this ministry back in the early days and for a long time. He's a Unity minister. He works part-time at Silent Unity, and he also works part-time at a Unity community around Kansas City as an associate minister. And Judy, you may or may not know, is in ministerial school. She's a licensed teacher. She'll be done with classwork in December and then graduating and being ordained next summer. So they say hello. I want to explain this morning, and I'm really hoping the YO viewers are out there in the Skylight Room having some coffee and listening to this. But I want to explain about how convention flows and then gets into some of the specifics that happened this year. The organizers come early because there's so much to set up and do, and the International Forum begins on Monday morning. You know, Unity is worldwide. There are over 900 spiritual centers and study groups across the globe. So the international people come early and kind of connect. And Monday afternoon, there's an orientation for people who've never been to the convention because it can be kind of overwhelming. They give you a little help in sorting out what you want to do so that you don't get overloaded. And then there's a great big social hour before the grand opening. There's a big general session on Monday night. And opening night this year featured the youth in Unity. I think I'm gonna cry. I don't think I've seen the convention focus on the youth before, like to this extent. And it was just such a beautiful, powerful way to open. There were banners in the hall that kids from all over had made about what Unity means to them, and very bright and beautiful displays. And then they had videos up on big screens where different youth groups would sing songs, or there was one Uniteam group that actually did a choreographed dance while they were singing, and it was just adorable. And lots of communities where they just passed the mic and said, "What does Unity mean to you?" It was very, very wonderful. And one of the ministers who got up and talked said, you know, Myrtle Fillmore in the early days of Unity, when people were gathering in their prayer groups and study groups, and they were so busy with all this adult education, she wondered who will be with the children. And as you know, Myrtle became very active with the children, and it was very deeply important to her to minister to the youth in our community. And the minister quipped with us that, you know, ministers today sometimes ask that on Sunday morning, who will be with the children? So the volunteers that work with our kids, gosh, I so appreciate you every Sunday and Wednesday nights, how you come and show up and be here for our youth. And a young Uniteam boy got up in front of hundreds of people there and read the Daily Word and did it flawlessly. It was very wonderful. That night, Reverend Jackie Greene received the Light of God Expressing Award. She started out in Unity just like you and I. You come and listen and get fed and go home. And then eventually she put her toe in and decided she wanted to volunteer a little bit. She started out by just putting together the supplies for the kids' classrooms on Sunday morning. And eventually she began to teach a class or two for the kids. And before long, she decided to become a YOU sponsor. She took some classes and more classes and eventually became a licensed Unity teacher. And then she wanted to take the next leap. She wanted to become a minister in youth ministry. So she applied to our field licensing program asking to do that and was turned down. So she applied again, and 3 times she applied for this until the Unity Field Licensing team realized this is new ground. We haven't done this before, but let's do it. And they allowed her to enter field licensing, and she became our very first youth ministry minister. She received this gorgeous Crystal Award and a standing ovation for 40 years of working with youth. Yes, pretty impressive. She told us when she became a YOU sponsor, one of the parents gave her a t-shirt, and this is funny. It said, "I better hurry up and catch up with them because I'm their leader." The rest of the week was so full. Seminars and general sessions start at 9 o'clock in the morning every day. There's break times for lunch and dinner, but often you're meeting with people during meals too. And then evening sessions go until 9:30 or 10 at night. there's the special meals. Sometimes there's a special lunch for licensed teachers that has a presentation involved, or any kind of group you can imagine. They're having these little separate meetings. Seminars are geared for specific interests and audiences. They call them tracks. If you've been to conventions before, you know that there's usually a lot of things going on simultaneously. So there are tracks for ministers and spiritual leaders. There are tracks for the youth teachers, tracks for licensed teachers, and for youth and family ministry. For musicians, there's a track. And then there's a spiritual development track, too, that all of us are welcome to be in. General sessions are when everybody gets together in a big auditorium, and they usually feature a combination of some fantastic musicians, and then maybe a keynote speaker or a business-type meeting that would be about some of Unity Worldwide Business. Run a lot like how we run our annual meeting in October. And there's also a Myrtle Fillmore Award and a Charles Fillmore Award every year that's granted. So I want to tell you about the first seminar I attended on Tuesday morning. It was presented by Unity Worldwide Ministries Chief Financial and Operating Officer and Vice President of Administration and Finance, and the talk was titled Church and Ministry, Finance and Tax. Really, an hour and a half. But it was good. He was wonderful. While that was going on, there were 5 other sessions at the same time that would have been wonderful too. But it's important to go to these events and bring back information and ideas for all areas of our ministry, because we have so much going on here, many activities and groups. There are exciting new developments in Unity's Compassionate Social Action Group and Unity's Earth Care Ministry teams. These are relatively new, and we'll be hearing more about them. Unity Connect helps peoples and groups in need get their information out to people who want to help. For instance, Memorial Weekend was that very big flood in Texas, Wimberley, Texas, and there's a Unity community there. One of my friends from my days of classes is a member there. And in that flood, 13 people died, and the river rose 1 foot every 2 minutes and peaked out at 44 feet higher. Incredible. 400 homes were lost. Thousands of homes were flooded. And Unity, we can't collect money to help out a specific cause like that. We have to act as a bridge. So Unity of Wimberley reached out to a nonprofit agency in the area, and so when funds come in, they can go through that nonprofit and get distributed to people in need. And so what Unity Connect does is, well, unityconnect.org is a brand new website so that you can go and find out where these places of need are and make your contributions, or find out how you can physically go and help a community. You start out at the website, but then information is disseminated through Facebook, and email, and website information. It's pretty cool. One of the biggest topics in the large general session meeting was about Unity education. You know, there are 2 large entities within Unity with separate boards of directors and separate CEOs. One of them is Unity Village. The CEO at Unity Village is Charlotte Sheldon, just a beautiful soul she is. Unity Village is responsible for Silent Unity, for the publications that we get, like the Daily Word, and for all the functions that go on in the historical buildings and the lands at Unity Village, the campus. And at the moment, Unity Village is in charge of Unity Institute, where all the education piece is. It includes our ministerial school, spiritual education and enrichment classes, the kinds of classes that I teach here too, like Discover the Power Within, or any Bible classes. So right now they have that, but the big news is that Unity Village wants to turn over the whole education piece to Unity Worldwide Ministries. Unity Worldwide Ministries is the association that provides services to us and other Unity centers around the world. They're the licensing and credentialing department as well, but they create curriculum for our youth programs. They provide a lot of literature and training materials for us. They help provide transitional ministers and other supportive services. So, the president and CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries is Reverend Donna Johnson, just another beautiful soul. The people in leadership are just incredible lights, so rest assured we have wonderful people at the top. And many of us know Reverend Diane Vanzera. She's the board chairman for Unity Worldwide. Reverend Vanzera writes incredible curriculum for our youth, and many of us have been to trainings with her before. She's part of the Great Lakes region too, so we see her at our regional meetings. This is going to be a process. There's a task force that's formed that's researching how to create the best possible education system going forward. And the discussion, I think, is that many of these classes will now be offered online, with just going to Unity Village for intensives periodically. This is a major shift from the 3-year seminary that you have to be resident there. I'm thinking it will be probably less expensive and way more available to people who want to pursue ministry. So I see it as a good thing, and many people did as well. This new movement into transferring the education will be, I think, in effect by next August 2016. Most people seemed open and enthusiastic, but there was, an open mic where dissenting opinions were brought forward. And but one minister reminded us of a creative new beatitude that I think he came up with. Blessed are the flexible, for they won't be bent out of shape. One keynote speaker shared a new acronym with me that I hadn't heard before. It's called an O flag. We learn in Unity that we can't blame anyone else for how we feel, or what we do, or our attitudes that we hold in the world. So when we catch ourselves pointing the finger or placing blame outside ourselves, we can remember the O flag, opportunity for learning and gratitude. Everything that happens in our lives is an opportunity for growth, learning, and gratitude. I brought back so many ideas and lots of information and handouts that I'll be sharing over the next few weeks with the board and with various teams and volunteers. It's kind of a stretch to try to encapsulate a whole week of activity into a 20-25 minute talk. So I'm going to turn to one keynote speaker now, Wayne Muller. Muller is a therapist, a minister, speaker, and author. In fact, several books that he's written we've used here in the past as book studies. The book, How Then Shall We Live, covered 4 questions to help find deeper meaning in life. Who am I? What do I love? How shall I live knowing that I will die? And what is my special gift to give to my greater family, the community of Earth? Another book that he wrote is called Sabbath, and it talks about the importance of rest and renewal in our lives, creating that sacred time for ourselves. On Thursday night, Muller delivered just a very insightful message about how we in Unity, all of us, can take our welcoming and healing embrace out into the world, how we can be unity in the world. He began by talking about the fast pace of life that we live in and how our culture is entrenched with technology and efficiency, trying to do it quicker, better, faster all the time, placing tremendous pressure on people and a lot of competition for jobs and for work. He even said, if you don't keep it up, you might lose your job to someone who's willing to put in 60 hours a week. He said that this is especially hard for the young adults of our community. He said the mind works fast. Think of how our monkey mind works when we sit to meditate. Whoa, it does work fast, doesn't it? Our mind processes quickly, but our hearts use a different time. One of my mentors used to tell me, answers will be revealed to you in the fullness of time. And she was talking about that heart wisdom, that heart knowing, not something in your mind. Muller joked with us about back in the Neolithic age and period of computers. Back in the day, he said, when you had to pick up your telephone and call the internet. Remember that? Boy, we are long beyond that. Now it's much quicker, isn't it? We read our emails on our cell phones. We get mad when it takes more than 5 seconds for a website to pop up. It's quick, it's fast. Muller said that if we take the heart out of what we know and just go by our intellect alone, our quick minds, then what we know gets skewed. And he suggests that what we know might not even be true if we don't have our hearts involved. We all need time to know what is true. Trying to do what the heart does at the speed of the mind doesn't work. So take grieving as an example of this. We can know logically that the soul of our loved one lives on, but our hearts ache for their presence, for their physical form, and for the time that we share with our loved one. Grieving takes a lot of time, and it's different for each one of us. The heart needs to feel and move through life experiences at its own pace. Muller talked about how we in Unity know how to heal. Our Unity movement grew out of our co-founder Myrtle Fillmore's healing herself with spirit of tuberculosis. So that's our foundation, healing prayer. We learn that from the day we walk into Unity. He read us a short poem, and I can't remember the author or the name, and it was a dark poem. It was about a man and a woman in this sick sort of relationship, and the woman declared her love for the man, and he asked her to cut her hand off, to kind of prove it, or, And he wondered out loud, Muller wondered out loud after reading this poem, what would go through your mind? What place would you have to be in your life to do something like that? And then he paused and said, if that person came in the door here at our Unity community, we would greet them with kindness, with love and acceptance, and share our wisdom and our knowledge about how to heal, how to grow. Because that's what we're about. That's what we know how to do. Unity knows how to heal people. He said that many people in our world need that kind of healing. There are young adults that can't find any deeper meaning in the present day. They're so busy in this culture of faster, quicker, more, and technology. Many adults have simply given up and stopped going to church. Many have given up on religion. But many of those same people feel lost, and they ache for more meaning in their lives. They don't take the time, I guess, to really know what the heart knows. I think we are good at that piece too, slowing down and going into the silence. Muller thinks that we can take unity into the world by bringing this sense of safety, this sacred space, this place of heart that we create here, and bring this healing sanctuary out into the world. He suggested that we meet people where they are, in stores and on the street and in other groups that you are engaged in. And then he ended his talk with another poem, and this one was by Rilke. It starts like this: God speaks to each of us before we are, before he's formed us. And the poem goes on and ends like this: near here is the land that they call life. You'll know when you arrive by how real it is. Give me your hand. what a different energy that poem created for the group. Give me your hand. I'll take your hand. I'll help you. You help me. Together. God is, I am, we are. Together. It just draws an image of cooperation. We're in this together. Hand in hand, we are unity. Hand in hand, we are the presence of God and the action of God in the world. Our shared spiritual awakening. That's what it's about. That's God's answer to the prayers of humanity. God is, I am, we are. We are the light of God expressing in the world. We are the love of God emanating in the world. The love and light of God within me blesses and honors the love and light